And welcome back to Sydney's Amaroo Park Raceway on a perfect day. We are going to be bringing you shortly the Formula 4 Driver to Europe Series and also the domestic Coca-Cola Bottlers Formula Ford Series. At the moment, though, we have the cars out on the racetrack just warming up, taking our Dulux Auto Colour race cam from Garry Jones' car. Let's take a look at the way they line up today. Pole position has gone to Mark Larkham in the Van Diemen with a 52 even. 52.20 Glen ZAMPATTI in another Van Diemen. From 3 is Russell Ingall. The 52.24 from 4.26 Paul Stokel in the Lola. 5 is Michael Walsh in the Reynard. For position number 6, Russell BECKER in the Van Diemen, 52.38. From 7.38, John Blanchard at 52.54. Troy Dunstan starts out at position 8 in 95 at 52.58. 9th is Peter Salmonen in a Swift, 52.58. And rounding out the top 10, Paul Morris in a Van Diemen with a 52.58. Very, very competitive times in practice. Mark Larkham is the man who holds pole position for this afternoon's round of both the Motorcraft Formula 4 Driver to Europe Series and the Coca-Cola Bottlers Series here at Amaroo Park. And a youngster who will be joining Peter Brock for the endurance races, as both of my commentators find themselves out of their uniforms for the moment and back into civvies.
Should be a good race, this one. The preliminary was won by Mark Larkham with now 10 seconds to go. We'll see how he fares this time.
Off in racing, Larkham out very, very smartly indeed. ZAMPATTI goes with him. That leaves a gap open for Paul Stokel to make the run up the hill. Something like 27 starters in this afternoon's dual rounds of the Coke and Motorcraft Series. But it'll be Mark Larkham who goes into Dunlop Loop for the first time as race leader. And there's the rest of the field. That is plenty of traffic.
Another great field of cars. Enormous field, in fact, and they're battling for the Coke Series. And we say it over and over again, but how strong is Formula 4? The cars are evenly matched and they're lapping very competitively all around the low 52s and amongst the front runners. And look at the great lead that Larkham has. Oh, a couple of guys in strife back through the pack at Honda. That's what happens when you've got elbow-to-elbow traffic, and there's Larkham. Oh, one guy back. Yes. It could have been Dunstan in the blue car, just as a guess.
Looked a little like Troy Dunstan at the late corner with a problem.
Very intense racing, particularly back in the pack.
Larkham will lead them down into Dunlop Blue.
This is the battle for second and third.
Oh, Mark Ingall up to keep a bit of pressure on there.
Vigorous. Glen ZAMPATTI in car number 10 in front of Ingall. He's in the Caltex entry. And the guys are probably finding, like a lot of the runners this afternoon, that the track is much slipperier than it was first thing this morning or after yesterday's practice. There's been a lot of oil dropped on it. There's Russell Ingall going down the outside. Paul Stokel on the inside in the Lola. Oh, and round goes Ingall. And does he come back in and get the traffic? Oh, gee, I was worried. Yeah, maybe it was just the angle I was looking at it.
So they'll miss him on the exit to the turn. Gee, that was anxious moments there for a moment. Ingall has displaced ZAMPATTI back to third spot, but they're coming at 6s and 7s behind him. One thing about this category, there's plenty of traffic charging. Just caught that one too on the way through.
There's Stokel, the young Tasmanian, who came out of the box here back in March and really upset the Formula 4 ranks. Let's take a look at our Dulux Auto Colour race cam and see what's happening in replay land here as they went round the right-hander in the stop corner. Oh. Well, there were a whole lot of cars. There's sort of 100 square feet of cars and there's only 90 square feet of road. Somebody had to give.
Mark Larkham continues to lead the race. He goes beneath our camera at Toledo Tools turn. Russell Ingall is in second. Look at this, going via a little runoff area towards the lake. Little area that the motorcycles used to use.
Paul Stokel had some problems earlier in the week. He came off. They lost the front of the car. The car had to be rebuilt. Steve Wiesner and Wally Story worked very hard on it. Let's have a look again at Dulux Auto Colour race cam and Garry Jones working very hard. So I didn't pick up who the other driver was in that incident down there, but Stokel was certainly the one in the Lola. Car number 21, and that's Michael Walsh.
It's bad luck for Michael, fifth fastest qualifier. Once again, we pick up on our Dulux Auto Colour race cam coming down towards the lake corner. Great perspective, this. Hard on the brakes here.
Oh. I think that's might have been Michael Gagan who slipped through, but I'm not sure. It's all happening. So Paul and Michael having a chat about their incident.
Yeah. I don't know if they're having much of a chat about it at the moment. They're parked off the racetrack. Some fascinating pictures here in the Formula Ford with Garry Jones. If you recall that Garry was badly hurt in a Formula Ford race early in the season at Malala, and is just back on the comeback trail. Carried our race cam in Formula Ford last year. Found it to be a bit of a lucky omen, so we've mounted one up to show you the perspective of Formula Ford racing at Amaroo Park this afternoon.
All the time, Mark Larkham just booting away from the field at the moment.
Yes, he really has opened up from Ingall and ZAMPATTI. A fair gap then back to 4th place. Garry Jones at this stage running around about 10th or 12th.
Working pretty hard. Peter Salmon in car number 8. It's the A&A entry.
It's Garry just ahead of him in car number 6, the Swift. Now to Honda corner. But at this stage, Mark Larkham is certainly running away with this. His lead has really opened up over Russell Ingall, probably about 4 or 5 seconds. And there is our race leader, Mark Larkham, in the Coffee Ford entry.
He's looked after by Greg Siddle, and I think you heard from Greg earlier in the day. And young Mark gets to join Peter Brock at the Pepsi 300 at Oran Park in a couple of weeks' time, the first of the endurance races for this touring car season. And he'll also drive at the 500-kilometre race at Sandown, and then step aside to allow Andy Rouse to join the team from the UK, and maybe rejoin again if the team runs a couple of cars in New Zealand later in the year. So it's a great break for Mark. Talking about big breaks, look at this. That's the gap that he enjoys, and every time he glances in his mirror, I've got no doubt that he'll have an enormous smile. Good, steady, intelligent peddler, Mark Larkham, very quick.
As Russell Ingall runs in 2nd. Heading up the hill. GLEN ZAMPATTI is 3rd.
A feeling that Russell didn't recover that quickly. I think that's number 18.
Could be, yeah.
And Russell Becker, who was one of the Toyota Star Search drivers, up now to 2nd. Ingall went way out to the back of the pack after that spin at Stop Corner and is still threading his way back through. And then GLEN ZAMPATTI. Well, I think of it too, and Paul Stokel, who's had a fraught weekend, receives a lot of support from a fellow by the name of Richard Steigler, we all know well in motorsport. He's recovering from a pretty nasty illness at the moment, so all the crew wish him well, and all of us here at 7 Motorsport also wish him well in his recovery.
15 laps, the distance of today's Coke and Motorcraft Series round for Formula Ford at Amaroo Park. Mark Larkham, certainly the big mover in this category during the season.
Car number 31, Peter Forster, and being hotly pursued by Ron Searle, I think it was, car number 29, minus the nose box on the car. And that would be upsetting the way that Van Diemen was balanced, I should think, and Amaroo Park is a track that you really need a finely balanced car in order to get your speed.
Having a great scrap as they run down to the lake corner.
.1600cc 4-cylinder engines, 2 valves per cylinder. They're a pushrod engine. Tried and proven formula in Formula Ford. Garry Jones Dulux race cam over the top of the hill, and for many years now the racing has been close and intense and exciting. And this gives you a good idea of how hard the driver works in one of these cars to keep them mobile. Past one of the slower guys to the right. Pretty close to being flat out through the right-hander at Sutton's corner. Slipping and sliding around back in the pack a little bit. A couple of the sports sedans and touring cars upended sumps full of oil on the circuit, which didn't do it much good.
I think we've been joined by Nuvolari again.
I'm here. Whew, just catching my breath. It's all right for Crompton. He's a hardened campaigner. You know? What's happening?
Just lay down and have a Becks, Wilco. We'll take care of you.
Mark Larkham still leads very comfortably in this round of the Formula 4 Driver to Europe Series. Some great pictures today, thanks to Dulux Auto Collar from Garry Jones, the Swift.
That lead that Mark Larkham's got now is getting out towards 10 seconds. Well, hang on to it, Garry. That's pretty terminal looking understeer there as it runs out wide up towards the ripple strip. It's great to see him back, and I'm sure he's just getting himself into the groove again to finish off the Motorcraft Series. And he's putting in a fine performance today in the final of the Coke Series. These cars, strangely enough, are lapping at the same sort of speeds that the hot touring cars are getting around here. Formula Ford's qualifying in low 52s. These cars make it look very much easier than the way that a Ford Sierra zaps around here.
We're on a lap number 11 of 15 for today's combination rounds. Mark Larkham well and truly without too much pressure on him at this stage. Won the start beautifully.
Yeah, I think any pressure that was likely disappeared with Ingall, didn't it?
Yeah.
With Russell Ingall. He was the man that could have won the Formula 4 Driver to Europe Series had he taken the checkered flag here today, or in fact finished in the first three, which is not going to happen now. And so it looks like Mark Larkham is going to complete the double, the Coke Series and the Formula 4 Driver to Europe. Disconsolate to Russell Ingall, who's won the last two rounds of this Formula 4 Driver to Europe Series in brilliant fashion. Garry Jones, what a comeback by him. As again we take pictures from the Dulux Autocolor race cam. I think he's in better shape than the car at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. Just, I don't know an awful lot about making Formula Fords work right, but I'd say that Gary's got his share of problems at the moment just with the balance of the car and its front to rear balance and the way that it's gripping. It's also important, I think, just in any sport, it's the same in motor racing, that you know, you've got to have your strength up and your confidence has got to be right up. And you know, Gary's come back from a pretty nasty incident. That thing that happened at Malala is a sort of incident or accident that knocks the wind out of a driver's sails, and it takes a little while just to get the rhythm back. But he's certainly wrestling the car a bit at the moment. It's not behaving itself.
This man's not wrestling. Smooth as silk. Mark Larkham drifting through the corner. Effort, I guess, because the team have certainly done an outstanding job. Last lap board is out, as you can see. They've done a tremendous job in terms of presentation and maintenance of the car right through the season.
Yes, Greg C. P. Got that out right. Good. I'll say that again. Greg P. Wee Siddle, who we had in for the Formula Holden race, has given Mark a very, very big rap. Claims he exceptional talent and could do big things in Europe.
I think that's his goal, and the age is with him, and he certainly knows how to set up a car, and he's also well clued up on how to present himself in his car, and that's important as well. So he comes out of the stop corner now for the final time and up onto the main straight, and Mark Larkham does it again. Crew are wrapped, and so's he, because he picks up valuable points, and Mark Larkham takes the win in the Coffee Ford Van Diemen RF89. And quite unusually, the field was really spread out in that one, and we lost the likes of Russell Ingall, and Garry Jones had some strife early in the race there, running up the back of those guys at stop corner. And Mark's pretty wrapped. Good on him. And as Garry pointed out a minute ago, he's had a tough run in the last couple of races. Let's check the Caltex race score. Mark Larkham, the winner, car number 5. From Russell Becker, a great drive, car number 18. And rounding out the top 3, number 10 from Western Australia, GLEN ZAMPATTI in the Van Diemen. A fine performance. We're back in just a tick.
You're puffing and panting like it was hard work, Mark.
Sure was. We got away at the start though, and I wanted to maintain a fast pace so we could keep ahead of the field. That was the idea, just get the start and get away from it all.
Russell Ingall was the big danger man. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be for him today.
Yeah, commiserations to Russell. He's put in a fine effort this year, but I'm just happy we've come out on top at the end.
Well, you've come out on top in both series, the Coke Series and the Formula Ford Driver to Europe Series.
Can't say I'm not wrapped.
Mark Winslow's here from Motorcraft to make the dual presentation to you.
Mark, on behalf of Motorcraft, congratulations both on today and also your winning the series. Good luck to you in the future. It's our pleasure to give you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to thank Motorcraft for putting up such a great series, and I just hope this is a rung in the ladder, for me, a very important ladder. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my sponsors, BP, Bob J and Dandenong, Scandia Electronics, PKF, and most of all, Coffee Ford in Dandenong, who've put in a big effort this year, and above all, to my boys out here who've done all the work. Thank you very much.
Mark Larkham, the winner of the Coca-Cola Series and the Formula Ford Driver to Europe Series. Phenomenal effort. Now, let's get down to some more action from Talledega, Part 2, the DieHard 500.
When we last said, see you later, Talledega, Darrell Waltrip had taken the lead in an action-packed DieHard 500. As we recap the standings on lap 125 of 188 circuits, Dazzling Darrell leads the fleet, Kenny Schrader is second, Mark Martin third, Terry Labonte fourth, and Morgan Shepherd rounding out the top 5.
Well, after about 6.5 seconds from the front 4 back to Morgan Shepherd. And here's some trouble coming on the front straightaway.
Got a car in trouble in the wall. And it's Joe Ruttman in a Lake Speed car. Tangling with the wall, taking the front off. That is the same team that had that disaster at Pocono a week ago when Lake Speed broke his shoulder blade in 2 places. They put Joe Ruttman into the car for today. Well, let's see if we can discern what happened here to Joe Ruttman.
Of course, he's already sideways and had already hit the wall and comes down off the wall to the inside of the track. You can see Harry Gant in the green car that went by just clipping the grass, and then Ruttman goes back up into the wall, hits it hard, almost gets over on the side, comes back down on 4 wheels, and slides down to the inside of the racetrack where it came to a stop.
Ready to resume. They'll get green as they come to lap 130. Look at Waltrip in the 17. He's done a breakaway. He cut in front of that lap car and got a very good start. And those Chevys seem to light up quicker, Ned, on those restarts. And the Fords just coming to speed. That long gear in the back straightaway, you were talking about it.
Nobody catches him asleep on a restart.
58 laps to go. Back to the line, and now Waltrip is overhauled.
Yeah,
the freight train catches him.
Yeah, it didn't take long once they got hooked up together to run him down.
And blazing by him comes Mark Martin. Martin, the Batesville, Arkansas traveler, goes up the outside and goes into the lead and blows on by with Elliott with him. Here comes Bill. Schrader on the outside, and here comes Morgan Shepherd back, and Sterling Marlin, all battling for the lead. Meanwhile, we have a fire in the infield. The motorhome is caught on fire, and they've moved some of the safety crews over there. It's down toward turn number 1, where they're working right now.
As if it were not hot enough here already today. Well, those fans in the infield and in that motorhome in particular are really getting hot.
Davey Allison pulling himself up through traffic into 3rd spot. 145 laps, and we've just had a major incident in turn number 1 here at Talledega, Alabama. Alan Kowicki has slammed hard into the outside wall. The 1986 winner, Bobby Hillen, has also crashed. Caution is out around the track for the 5th time. We just experienced our 40th lead change, and then we had this major crash in turns 1 and 2.
Okay, let's see if we can see what happens. There's Sterling Mahler following Dale Earnhardt into turn 1, and the wreck had happened in front of him. That was Alan Kowicki that we saw spinning in front of him, and Sterling apparently trying to maneuver around.
Let's take a look at the end of that incident again in turns 1 and 2.
You can see Bobby Hillen on the high side of the racetrack. That's Alan Kowicki down on the inside, and Sterling Marlin had just gone past him in front of him there. And Bill Ingram, boy, just barely gets through. It's a tough break because Sterling Marlin was running good. So was Bobby Hillen and Alan Kowicki.
Let's see if Allison can win his third straight of the super speedways. Won the Winston 500 here in May at Talledega. Came back and won at Daytona. 4th of July, the Pepsi Firecracker 400. Shooting for number 3. And let's see what Waltrip can do from back in 8th. Remember what Waltrip has said in this race. Don't let somebody else dictate. You be the dictator. Waltrip is just sorting them out now. Just playing some cards, taking a look at them, discarding some, keeping others. Saw him take that very high line. Here you see tight formation for the lead. And to the inside comes the Chevrolet this time. Schrader goes up. Morgan Shepherd comes back. Waltrip eases to the inside as the number 6, the blue car. Mark Martin on the high side, and Terry Labonte fade back into the 4th and 5th position.
This is stock car racing at its very best.
Davey Allison there, and here's Schrader just barely in front of Davey Allison.
You can see how much Davey picks up on the draft and just builds up enough momentum to run right on by.
And look at this battle as they're 3 wide again, coming down through out of 4. Martin pressed against the wall in the middle. Terry Labonte, Waltrip on the bottom, putting a lap on Dale Jarrett as they come through, squeezing over in between cars. Waltrip almost into the side of Davey Allison. It's tight running at Talledega with 16 laps to go in the 21st running of the DieHard 500. And in this battle now, defending champion Ken Schrader has the advantage.
On this very hot day, we're looking at men with ice water in their veins out there on this racetrack.
Riding with Davey Allison, picking his spot very carefully. You don't want to get caught outside of the draft and slip back. Look at this confrontation for the lead. Waltrip on the inside, Martin on the outside, and it is Mark Martin back in front, but here comes Waltrip low. Chevy and Ford, wheel to wheel. Down they come to the line, and being pulled along. Waltrip brings Terry Labonte up into 2nd spot. Martin falls to 3rd. Schrader comes back on the outside, assisted by Davey Allison and number 4 Oldsmobile, Rick Wilson.
Now these cars are really evenly matched, and it's come down to the man at the wheel that's going to win this race.
Waltrip, the man of the moment, going into turn number 3, underneath Martin to 2nd. And you were riding with Davey Allison, watching as he did it. Davey squares off and turn. Oh, he's sideways. Davey Allison losing a tire. You can see it shredding. He spins and slides down on turn number 4. Davey Allison out of control. You're riding with him, trying to correct this car. He's headed back to the track. He gets it back. The one place you do not want to be is back up on the track and slams it to a halt. Meanwhile, in front, look at this. Labonte and Waltrip are trying to pull away from the field. Here's the story.
It's going to be decided between those two.
White flag is down. Here we go to the side. The 21st annual DieHard 500. Ford and Chevrolet in that ongoing confrontation. Ford out in front, the Junior Johnson car. Terry Labonte out of Texas. Darrell Waltrip looking for his 78th win, stays right there with him.
I think he'll try to make the move between turns 3 and 4 if he has enough. Let's see if he does. Terry Labonte's going to use that low line.
Pulls away a little.
Halfway around.
Darrell Waltrip perhaps backed off to try to build some momentum. As he comes off of turn 4, he's going to try to build enough momentum to grab past him.
Closing. Waltrip moving up as they hit the tri-oval. Coming down. Terry Labonte in front. Waltrip looking for room, about 1,000 feet to go. To the inside comes Waltrip. He's there. They're almost side by side. To the line. Terry Labonte will win for the Junior Johnson crew. That is his 9th win. And into 2nd was Darrell Waltrip at the finish. Almost doing it.
In yet another traditional NASCAR bumper-banging finish, the DieHard 500 goes to Terry Labonte's Ford Thunderbird over Darrell Waltrip's Chevy. 3rd was Mark Martin in a Ford. 4th, Kenny Schrader's Folger Chevrolet. And 5th place to Rick Wilson in the Kodak Oldsmobile. trust you enjoyed the running of the DieHard 500 brought to you today on our telecast from Amaroo. Don't forget the NASCAR Australian 500. We'll be bringing that one to you live on Sunday, December 10. We're about 30 seconds away from the start of the Toledo Tool Sports Sedan Series, round number 4. 10 seconds away from the start. Bryan Thomson has the pole position. Back behind him, Kevin Bartlett, but as they tug off the line, Keith Carling missing from the grid, and 48 splits them heading up the hill. Des Wall and the Commodore gets away very smartly indeed. One slow to begin in the middle of the pack, and I think you'll find that Bryan Thomson will take the lead as they drop into the loop for the first time. Kevin Bartlett back there into third, subbing today, of course, in the Jaguar XJS. And good to see Kevin Bartlett back having a full book, as they say.
Race leader Bryan Thomson just cannot get enough of speed. He stopped by the commentary box during those highlights from Talledega on his way down to the grid to say that this car is for sale at around the $115,000, $120,000 mark, and he's going to build himself another one, a new one.
And he only just got this new one
exactly
working well.
Yeah, it's a dynamite machine. So
he's great to the sport, and he's great for the sport, Bryan Thomson.
Well, there must be 3 or 4 cars that he's built that are going around in, you know, different sports sedan series at the moment.
He doesn't build too many turkeys, I'll tell you.
Des Wall working pretty hard here with Kevin Bartlett.
KB just trying to edge to the top of the hill, can't get past Wall.
And we should put a clock on Bryan Thomson. The other thing he told me was that he's going to try and crack the lap record.
He might have more chance of that than selling it for $120,000 this afternoon. Good scrap here between Des Wall.
That was Robin Doherty's 4 we were looking at earlier on as well. And Keith Carling, an interested spectator, I should say, at the moment. The number 14 Mazda Toledo Tools entry was pushed off the side of the grid there. And so he'll be very disappointed that he's not involved in this battle. KB now makes a lunge down the inside.
At least the car's in better shape than it was at Oran Park, Keith Carling's.
Yes, you're right. Thompson's definitely going for the record. He is just scooting away from the field. There's Keith Carling's Toledo Tools Mazda, number 14. Out before the start of the race. Bad luck for Keith. Once again, Kevin Bartlett in the Colorbond Jag, sitting in behind Des Wall's Commodore. Must be about the widest Commodore at Amaroo this afternoon. There's not too many spots to park around here.
The all-care air conditioning entry, and another one of those lovely engineering jobs from Bob Tyndall. Bob Jolly is in 4th place in his Commodore, and further back behind him we've got David McGuinness in the Mazda RX-7. He's quite a distance behind at this stage. 2nd and 3rd, so close you could barely see Kevin Bartlett under there, and now the Colorbond Jag is brought up onto the outside of the Commodore. No. KB switches line again. He's making sure that Des Wall's mirrors are kept well and truly full. Now he's got the gap he's been seeking. No, wasn't able to get back in that hole. Well, I thought that was big enough for KB to get in there, but the car wasn't balanced to his liking, so he's had to wait for another opportunity.
That's the best we've seen Wall's car go all season, I think, here at Amaroo Park. He's keeping Big Rev Kev fairly honest here as they come down to the lake.
KB using a little bit more road than Des Wall that time. Des has been a long-time sports sedan runner. Had a Tirana that was very successful for many years.
Whoops. Kev's going to pull back underneath him now. Wall had to take an extra lock there. He might have him this time. Yes, he does.
In there this time. Yep, good on you. Nice bit of driving there, KB.
So Bartlett moves to 2nd. Thomson is still attacking the record book by himself.
Just wondering whether or not Des might be able to come back on the attack here, but he lost a little bit of ground that time over the back. Bob Jolly still in 4th place.
Looking for 4th place. Jolly. That'll give you an idea of how far they've spread themselves out around Amaroo Park today. Another nifty-looking Commodore. So credit to the sports sedan movement, Bob Jolly, the Rover entry. They really are keen about their racing, these guys. Big field today. There's one coming off the bottom of the lake corner. Has obviously had a little excursion down there in the dirt. Jeff Reeves, 171 was the guy involved there. In the Alpha is Jolly, running fourth at the moment in this Toledo Tool Sports Sedan Series, round number 4, finals this afternoon. There's the gap now from 4th to 5th.
Where are your field glasses?
It's good scrap though, this one. Mazda RX-7, David McGuinness, 145. That's him there. A couple of little Mazdas having a go back in the pack. And I think it's a Datsun 120Y, car number 31 of Sean Donnelly in there behind this car. No doubt that'd be the old Mike Griffin car, I'm guessing at that, but
you should recognise it, shouldn't you?
Well, no, I'm talking about the 120Y.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that long ago.
Yeah. I don't think there were too many quick 120Ys around. Car number 31, mobile auto tint. Yes, Mike's been on the sidelines recently, but I understand he's got a pretty mean little weapon being put together in a corner of Sydney at the moment. We might well see Mike Griffin back amongst the sports sedans in the not too distant future. Certainly always been a front runner, and I'm sure everybody will welcome his return. Car number 10, Michael Burke's Alpha GTV.
I also noticed that Graham Bailey's son having a run today in the Commodore, of course, that won Bathurst, the chicken Commodore.
It was the Alan Grice Graham Bailey car, the winner of Mount Panorama in 1986, and this weekend always signifies the commencement of the official countdown towards Bathurst, I guess, when teams really turn their attention to the big one each year.
Well,
there's
there he
the
is,
car.
having a huge brake lock-up. So Bailey Jr., young Derek, having a run in that car. We haven't seen that on the racetrack for ages. Ran in the Division 2 qualifying race for the sports sedans this morning and ran a very creditable 3rd place. Doesn't seem that long ago, does it? That car was leading the 1,000 at Bathurst with Gricey and Graham Bailey.
Last lap board is out, and time's just about up. There's the Supra, Chevy powered Supra of Brian Thomson. I don't know whether he's actually cracked the lap record. The outright sports sedan lap record here is 49.5 seconds set by Chris Clearahan in Alfetta Chev. Best time I got, Brian, was dead on 50 seconds. So with proper timing equipment, he might have gone a shade under that, but whether or not he's got close to Clearahan's record is another matter. But the car,
I reckon there'll be a little bit too much oil and rubbish on the track. We were pretty keen to try and do that in the open wheeler, but not to be this afternoon, I don't think.
Last corner coming up. And the Toledo Tool Sports Sedan race this afternoon is going to Brian Thomson in the Chevy-powered Toyota Supra.
and the series to him by a big margin.
Yep, he's been a consistent runner. Whoops, 78. Around sideways at the top of the hill. I think that's Bob Blacklaw.
Unless he's run a bit late.
Yes, Bob's had a streak of bad luck up there. Let's recap them for you on the Caltex race score. Brian Thomson from Shepparton wins in the Toyota Supra. Second spot goes to Kevin Bartlett in the Jag. Third, Des Wall in the Commodore.
Congratulations, Brian Thomson. The Toledo Tool Sports Sedan Series is yours, and what better way to advertise a car for sale?
Well, yes, thank you, Gary. We're building a new car for next year. Peter Fowler still thinks there's some secrets in the bin, even though he's produced another record-breaking car for us. And some lucky sports sedan owner could have it for next year's series, Gary.
Did you break the record here today?
Our team gave us, we officially equalled the record on the third lap, but we timed from a slightly different place, so all fingers crossed, maybe we did.
Wal Wallace is here from Toledo Tools to make the presentation to you. Brian Thompson.
Congratulations, Brian. Throughout the 89 series, you've had some close and exciting racing, and you've won the series. On behalf of Toledo, congratulations once again.
Thank you very much, and it's something that's akin to all motor mechanics and the motor industry in general is the tools, and Toledo is the top of the list. Thank you.
Okay, congratulations to Brian Thompson, winner of the Toledo Tools Sports Sedan Series.